Okay, so this is a great recipe for falafels, and you need again your food processor with the blade and a tin of chickpeas, really well drained. You could even pat them down to make sure they are definitely dry. And then you want 2 big handfuls of parsley. You can't really put too much in, but 2 big handfuls, usually like a bunch, how it comes in the supermarket, is fine. Wash it and let it dry out. You don't really want any extra moisture in there, else it'll make your falafel too wet. I put 3 large garlic cloves in because I like it quite garlicky, but you can obviously put less or more depending on how you like it. A medium-sized onion chopped up. It's obviously going to get chopped up a bit more once it's in there, but it helps if you chop it up first. And then we have half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of chili powder and half a teaspoon of cumin, along with 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. And that can just all go in together. If you like spicy falafel, then just add another half teaspoon of chili powder. Now you want roughly about 4 tablespoons of chickpea flour or gram flour. This just basically helps it all stick together. You may need to add a bit more if it's a bit wet. It just depends how well you've drained your chickpeas, but we can check that in a moment. Then on goes the lid, and again you're going to set your food processor to full power, and you want it to go around for probably 30 seconds. Then you're going to stop, take the lid off, scrape the sides down and keep going back for probably 3 or 4 goes until it really looks well combined. So once it stops kind of moving, you know that it needs a bit of help, so then you're going to put your spatula in, move it off the sides and repeat. You will have to do the scraping about 5 or 6 times in between blitzes. As you can see, it's coming together, but it's definitely only about halfway there. Okay, you can see we're almost there. It's looking great, but it is a bit wet, so I am going to add a couple more spoons of chickpea flour, and we should be probably there after 1 more mix. So here's the falafel mix ready to go. Now you can do this 2 ways. You can do it quickly, which is just to basically drop it in to your pan of oil. You don't need much oil, just literally it's shallow frying, and they don't actually really absorb much oil, so you'll probably be left with the same amount of oil almost at the end. If you want them to look really pretty, then you can shape them in your hands, and then you can roll them in some flour and then fry them. I'm going to show you that way next. So if you do want to dust them in the flour, you can do it to make them a bit nicer in shape and make them all evenly the same size. So just cook them on quite a low heat because you don't want them to be black, you just want them to be lightly browned on each side. That's probably the perfect colour really for falafels. Another thing I like to do is roll some of them in sesame seeds. It just gives a different taste really, and they're really nice. So instead of doing your flour, you can do the sesame seeds instead. And then just straight into the frying pan. So here's a delicious falafel ready to eat. It should make around 18 pieces, obviously depending on how big you make them. If you don't want to eat it all on the same day, I recommend shaping the falafels and popping them onto greaseproof paper and then into a box into the freezer, because it's really nice when you've freshly cooked it. Even if it's cold, it's still good on the first day, but it's much better if you cook it fresh and then eat it.